You know, or a parent one that is now fixed. So I will call this meeting to order, September 11th, 2025. Note this meeting is being televised, streamed, or recorded by Bourne TV. If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. We have Owen here from the Bourne Enterprise. Please refrain from using flash photography. The Zoom meeting ID is 876-3388-5678, password 8CA, all caps. The Zoom chat will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute.
Madam Chair.
All items within this meeting agenda are subject to deliberations and votes. And one second, Peter.
Yep.
I do want to, I know it's not on here, but I would like to just take a quick moment of silence. It is September 11th, and I think it's important that we do that.
That's what I was asking.
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. And I guess we will pledge allegiance as well while we're doing that. And for our safety personnel as well, for those people from 9/11. Okay, pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are back. So it's discussion and deliberation on the scores for the marijuana applicants and issuance of a potential host community agreement. So I don't know, I guess we'll start. I don't know, where are we starting here? What is the pleasure? Do we want to go around to the select board, talk about your scoring or how you scored, or where do we want to start? MJ, I see you're up on the screen. Do you want to lead us off while maybe it'll get you done quicker? Your hand is up. I like it. Okay. You need to unmute, though. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm not feeling well, and you guys do not want what I have, so, my scoring, I thought that all the applicants were, qualified to, be, chosen. I thought the presentations were very good. Obviously, they're caring people who really care about the industry. I did in my rating rate Bourne Cannabis as the highest rated applicant. I thought they were a strong, well-rounded management team with good experience, funding that includes a social equity member who was really integral to the operation. I thought that Michael Kinahan had expressed himself really well in terms of his operation and his values, and I thought that the management team did a really good job of bringing in someone who could really add value to the organization. I thought they answered in every category. Their answers were very complete and well documented. I thought that their explanation of the location in terms of being able to tap into the farmers market and drive through people, and that their, online order experience is a major part. Their operation was good. I thought their timeline was detailed with a plan. Their compliance metric was detailed on the labor and employment metric. They were strong on employee pay, on benefits, consideration of housing in the ESOP. So the handbook was very detailed on the recruitment and employee handbook. And I thought they met the social equity. So overall, I thought they did a really excellent job. I thought the other candidates did pretty well, but I did rate them as the top candidate.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I'll move on to the next if you have nothing else to add. All right.
No, I think that's good for now. I'm not exactly sure how we're gonna do this, so I'm just saying what my top choice was.
I appreciate it, thank you. Jean, maybe I'll go around that side over that side.
I thought the presentations were all really good. It was a tough decision. There were some obvious differences, of course. Kind of retail with the location issue. There was some of those things that made differences in my scoring. I kind of started from the top down, and I did award some extra points for, even though there was a lack of location, just the presentation and the thoughtful business plan and everything was really well put together, and really well presented. And honestly, it was really close on my end, I think. I didn't look at the total scores as I went. I just judged each candidate based on their merit. And I would really like to hear from other board members about their scoring differences.
Thank you, Jean.
Thanks.
My turn. I scored NLM, operating as Cape Cod Dispensary, as my highest. They checked off all the boxes. I found their business plan to be very solid, but also going beyond, as did Bourne Cannabis, what is required in a traditional business plan. I thought their experience was a little stronger. Not necessarily, they had experience in the cannabis industry, but they also had extensive experience with business in general, retail in a business, and having a great business model. I liked the location, and while I understand that a lot of the revenue is generated online, to capture that population that doesn't online, for as a town, the location is ideal, because you can capture foot traffic, right? And I don't think, given the traffic study, hinders any additional issues with that particular location. Location was an issue for me for Bourne Cannabis, and that's why majority of why they received an under rating. I just don't think there's a need for two shops on MacArthur Boulevard in a small community like we have. And like I said, we're capturing, Sagamore, we're capturing Bourne, we're capturing, a Buzzard Bay. I liked the ESOP. That's a fantastic model. But I think if any one of the candidates wanted me to justify every point given in this rubric, I'm happy to do that. And I can validate every single point as to why or why not I gave you the score you received. And I think that's important for the equity piece. And that's why we're sitting here. I vocally spoke out against having the ban lifted. I was a dissenting vote. But once the people of this community voted, I respected that vote. And I worked diligently through this process to ensure equity, transparency for anyone who wanted to do business in this industry in this town. I am still, because if I voted based on my moral compass, all of you would have gotten a 0. But I didn't, right? Because I don't sit here to do that. I don't sit here to sway any type of decision making. I look out for the best interests of the town. And I'm still concerned about the health and well-being of the community, not from a moral standpoint, but from the same standpoint that our police and fire department think about the health and well-being of this community, right? And I am reassured, having gone through this process, I'm a little less concerned, okay, of this particular industry, as I am with alcohol, smoking, all of it, right? Not this, just this in particular. So, that being said,
Thank you very much. Very well said. Peter?
Excuse me. When I went for this evaluation, I know the presentations were all great. I mean, and also the people who were involved with the various groups have been pillars of the community in some ways for many years. You know, you can't take that away. The thing with me is, it's the Buzzards Bay location. It's just not the place for, for any of these, just for this, just because of, the fact that you need a special permit. So the special permit grant authority on top of a site plan is gonna require a lot more work. And, it doesn't mean it can't be done. Traffic concerns, trying to get in and out of around that rotary, can be a challenge. Not today, but certain parts of the year, you take your life into your own hands. Again, yes, there's an overlay there. It's allowed to be put there but some of these are over leverage. They have to. The financing is not there. But with Bourne Cannabis, they own their own building. They're fully capitalized. They have extensive retail and industry experience, but some of the other ones do too. They have an extensive traffic report. They have complete and extensive engineering. But I think they were one of the only ones, if memory serves me right, that has they have an extensive employee sharing plan where, an employee investment. They're willing to put people in the housing. They checked off all the boxes, and that's why I chose Bourne Cannabis as my best of the four. Now, I did reach out to the Cannabis Control Commission for some guidance because I've never done a social equity before, and I never got any callback when I left a couple of messages because I do take this seriously. It's what I'm here to do. I've always acted in the best interest of the town, and I guess I don't know. It's just I gotta take the emotion out of it, just because these people took the time, sweat, and equity to put these packages together. So you just can't take that away from them. But I'm here to listen to the rest of the board. I'm here. We don't have to make a decision today. If we want more information or we want to sit on it, so it's. I'm done for now. I may say more later.
Okay, thank you. So I'll go next. Hearing all of my colleagues and their reasoning, I think, so for myself, I actually scored Cape Cod Dispensary's highest. I did it differently this time, and the scoring is difficult. We made this first rubric that we did, and we all went through it. It was painful. And at that point, when I scored the first time, I took, if it was in the application, I gave the points for it, right? It was there. But this time I tried to do it a little bit differently. I took each presentation, I thought about all of the nuances, the location, the experience, the backing, all of these things, the business plan, the work plan, the employment plans. But instead of scoring, okay, you had it, you got the points, I might have taken just a few points away here and there for certain things. So I voted, of course, as I said, Bourne Cannabis highest. I'm sorry, not Bourne Cannabis. I'm sorry, NLM. Sorry, I said that wrong. Cape Cod Dispensaries. I said that wrong in the beginning. Let's rephrase.
no, you said Cape Cod
Did
Dispensary.
I?
In the
Yeah.
beginning.
Okay, God, yeah, I thought I said, because I'm looking at the paper. Sorry. So I scored them highest, mostly for the location. I like that location. I think it's fair if we spread these stores out. We need a Buzzards Bay location, in my opinion. We have one in Sandwich, we have Sagamore, we have Chiefs. We have MacArthur Boulevard, the Hogs were in yesterday, said their plan is coming along. So it just doesn't seem and make sense to me to have two locations on one strip when we don't have something in Buzzards Bay to serve our people from Buzzards Bay, people coming over the bridge, people getting jammed up on that rotary are gonna pull in there, they're gonna stop. You know, I see that. I lived on Everett Road, right out back there for 20 years, and that's a good location. That building is tucked away. It's really quiet up there. Wasn't a good place for the seafood restaurant. Craig Moore struggled up there. I worked for him doing his books. He couldn't keep it going. But for something like this, I always said to myself, geez, what business would fit in this building? What a great space. This is the space. This is what I feel is best for that space for Bourne. It's a great location up there. And it's hidden. We know the businesses can't, a restaurant, something like that can't work up there because it's so up there. So that is how I scored them this time around. And I didn't give much less of a point. It was a half a point, to be honest, for that location. And I think I tried to do my best to be fair. So that's my thing. And anybody, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as the location goes, I mean, I just remembered what we went through with the planning board and creating the overlay district and the conversations. And if you're in the overlay district, you're in the overlay district.
Yeah.
And I think that as far as the Buzzards Bay side of things, Medicine Man kind of edged out, in my opinion, because I remember there were many people from the Buzzards Bay community that came to our planning board meetings and over were concerned about the ability of the business to be close to the residents, and that was one of the criteria we did in determining the overlay on the south side of the canal, was looking at the access. And I think that was my only thing that was a little edgy for me, was even though that location, yeah, great location, both on that rotary, but the fact that they were going to use the entrances in and out through a residential area kind of bumped them down a little bit. Slight, again, points,
And who
because
was your vote again, your highest?
my top, I know, looking back at the scores, was Bourne Cannabis. Medicine Man was second.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Peter.
I don't know, I thought about it this way too. If I lived in Buzzards Bay my whole life, if I go to the grocery store, I go up to Wareham, I go to Market Basket as an example. Now, going over the bridge in the Wareham, and going up to, I have options in Wareham I can go to. Now, it's the Sagamore side. If I'm leaving Market Basket and come home, I go over the bridge. I have an option with Ed Dow's place once it's opened up. So to me, it's not as important to have a place in Buzzards Bay because I have other options that are out there.
I mean,
Everybody has that.
I'd have to be lying if I said I wasn't concerned with our scoring. You know, we don't have to actually choose a location based on the score. That's not,
No.
we don't have to do that either.
They don't have
Right.
to have a location.
Right.
You know,
It's
have
in it's in the overlay.
Right.
It's-
So it's just,
Yeah,
you know.
it's in the overlay district.
Yeah.
well, that's
Yeah, if we had, you know, scoring had been a little bit different maybe, or different sort of set of standards behind it, we might not be sitting here saying this right now. It'd be a different scenario. So, so we have to discuss, what does it look like? Are we voting on this today? Are we going to choose and, who gets the license today? Or do we all need more time to think about it after conversations? What's the pleasure of the board? MJ, you're awful quiet up there. I know you don't feel good.
I think, I think G makes a good point in that the overlay district is the overlay district, and if it's in the area, then it's in the area.
Yeah.
I have a lot of differences between the scores for location. I did take points away for Canal Retail because they didn't have a location, but I also felt that if they happened to be the top scorer, then there were two locations that, there were other locations that were being proposed that they could sort of step into that would meet their model. So I didn't make the location too much of a point. I would say that And I'll talk a little bit about NLM and why I took some points away from them. They made a big point about, they really emphasized that they were Bourne residents. But that was in our old rating, that wasn't in this rating. So I mean, it's great that they're Bourne residents and I'm happy to have them do it. I thought that was a plus. My real concern and what I took points away was, this is a social equity application. And in the application, there was only a brief description that Chris Vining is a social equity applicant. We didn't get anything about his background, what he was bringing to the organization. And, you know, I questioned that, and then he spoke up some more, and we got a follow-up that said that he would be on the location. But he lives in Somerville, he has a store in Somerville. I just didn't feel he offered the same integral component of being a social equity candidate. So in the management team scoring, I did take points off for the management team. So, and I think that was, when I listened to all of the candidates for the being a social equity application, I thought that as a social equity application, they didn't have the strong social equity component as the rest of them. They give them 25 points for being a social equity candidate, so I took the points off in terms of the management team and how integral the social equity was to the management team.
Okay,
None of the social equity candidates are Bourne residents.
right.
But I think for Cape Cod Dispensary, what tipped it for me too was not just like energy and environmental, metric, the Perkins have extensive experience, and the other two, Nicole, the McCarthys, and also their contributions and their plans for contributions to the community and how they are going to impact the community in a positive way. I think they were the strongest in that regard. And Bourne Cannabis was right up there too. I mean, to connect with a developer and to, offer ESOP is great, right? But if you're hiring Bourne residents, they already live in Bourne. They probably don't need us. But it's great that, they're bringing in, people who want to work and can find housing for them, great, that they can afford. But I think Cape Cod Dispensary too, I think they're realistic, and they were realistic in their financial plan, and they do have financial backing. I think they were realistic with their numbers, with respects to the industry, and have a solid handle on a realistic handle on generating that type of revenue. We all know that the industry is challenging right now, and there are several struggling. Of the two, they pretty much, as far as overhead regards, they were pretty neck and neck with respects to overhead costs and things like that. And the difference between their last presentation and what's transpired with this particular, they did the work. I know Nicole they've been shadowing, both of them, consistently shadowing a cannabis retail shop to gain that knowledge and show that they're serious and want to have success. And that was that to me that resonated with me, that they just didn't do the one. At the time, I think Nicole had said she had only had a couple months, and that was concerning for me. But they have since shadowed and with a retail cannabis industry, store, to gain that knowledge. And that struck a core as to, like, you know, they're passionate about this, and they're serious about this, and they really want to have success with this.
I found their presentation very,
Yeah.
very well put together. It was visual. I'm a real, you know, I like fluff and color, and, you know, it was all there. You know, I really liked the present. I liked, as well as, you know, Bourne Cannabis. Yeah. So, yeah.
My other question was, you know, is there a need, at the pleasure of the board, to address the letter received by Valerio Romano?
If I may?
Yes, please.
I think we should recognize that we don't have to award this based on the
Score.
score.
Right.
True, no, yeah, and I think that's, yeah.
I think
But it's a good
that's-
reminder, yeah, it's
I
not based
agree.
on top score, that was never the intent.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that when we do these deliberations.
I mean,
we
because
have
it
to-
allows us for deliberating, right? We should be able to
Correct.
deliberate and
Correct.
speak to.
Sure. And some things may be said that may sway your decision. You may say, well, that's a good point that MJ had, you know, on that other one, or otherwise. So it's good that we're deliberating and talking about it. Do you want to address the letter? Is it something you think we should?
I'm asking.
I don't think we need to. I mean, it's just
Is
part
it
of.
Marlene? I don't know. Anybody? MJ?
It was shared with us, I'm asking.
I don't-
I'm asking the board.
Well, it's shared and it's public.
It's
you know.
public record.
It is public.
It's been submitted. That's all we need to do. It's part. You know, it's you know.
I think so. Go ahead if you feel it's public record.
No,
and
I'm
it should be
asking. I'm asking.
I
I'm not
don't-
making the decision, I'm just saying, I'm asking, should we address the letter and the contents of the letter that was written by Valerio Romano regarding the process?
I'm not opposed to it. If anybody
don't-
else is,
I don't care.
do you mind? Is anybody?
No.
MJ, go ahead.
I think that the letter expressed an opinion of an attorney representing a candidate. And I think that the board set a process where individual select board members would score based on their evaluation. And then the composite score would be compiled. And I think that's what we did. And I don't think that as a board, we should be commenting on how each of us scored. We scored based on our evaluation, and that's our job, and that's what we did. So I think the attorney gave us an opinion. I don't think it's material. You know, if he made a complaint about one specific way that it was scored, actually, if you took all those scores out, it doesn't change the results. So it's not material, it's a composite score. And I think we should just accept the letter as an opinion and leave it at that.
I appreciate your response, MJ.
I agree.
I think if we don't look at the total score as our guide for deliberating and making a decision, we're doing our due diligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, what is the pleasure of this board?
Thank
Do
you.
we want to vote and offer this license, or do we feel we need more time to think it over and relook at our evaluations and sort of regroup it on another day? I'm just going to take suggestions on that. This is a serious, this is a big deal. It's an important license, and we do want to do it right and make sure we're making the right decisions. It's up to the board.
Thinking. I don't know. It would be difficult to try and make a decision today, but at the same time, we've been working on this for a long time, and it would be nice to move on. So,
Well, I think if we don't make the decision today, what additional information do we need?
right,
Right.
right. the difficult
in that
part.
decision, right?
Correct.
I mean, is anybody prepared to
I
ask for
picked my
additional
school, yeah.
information? Then we have to open it up for additional information for
Right,
everyone,
right.
which means that we have to open it up the whole process again.
Well, no, it's just more of a, does some of the board need time to consider their choices, is my question. I know I don't personally, but I don't know, I can't pretend to know what you are all feeling, so. At this point, now that we've deliberated, we've talked about the reasoning behind the scores, and, Anne Marie gave a really nice, breakdown of why she chose Cape Cod dispensaries. So, I don't know if that helped or changed or any of that. So MJ gave her explanations for her reasoning. So here we are.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I do just want to remind the board, just like last time, you will need to provide a narrative for each candidate.
From the board.
From the board.
Yeah.
So no
As to
matter
why they scored, why we didn't, why they didn't.
Why the yes or why the no?
why you're granting it or why you're not granting it. So you will, depending on what you choose to do today, if you do grant it before we leave, you should, it doesn't have to be lengthy, but you should provide a narrative for each candidate on the reason why they were selected or not selected.
MJ's answer.
That's something we have to do as a board. And
Yes.
put
Is it
those
still up or is
together.
it? MJ, is
go
your
ahead.
hand up
Is that
or is
hand
it
up or
up
is it
from
a new
before?
hand?
No, it's a new hand. I actually was thinking about process. I think we have something, and we didn't really talk about what our process was gonna be for deciding.
Yeah.
We do have a process, say, when we're making appointments and there's more than one candidate, we have a process where everyone says who their top candidate is, and then we go from there. We could do it that way. And then I've been thinking about the process we used last time where we did vote on specific applicants that we were going to enter into negotiations for an HCA with. We did not close out the other applications
Right.
Yeah.
until we had finalized the HCA agreement with the applicant that we choose. I would suggest that we do it that way again. And then that also, I think, was the time when we actually did the deliberations on why we had or hadn't chosen. But I know who my top candidate is, and so if maybe we just go through that and see if we can come to a consensus, and then if we can't, then we figure out what else we would want to do. But
All right, so we want to vote and choose our candidate then? Go around and pick who we're choosing? Okay. I don't have a sheet, Marlene, we'll just record it. All right, MJ, I guess I'll start with you. You're up in Zoom.
my top choice is Bourne Cannabis.
Okay. Peter.
Bourne Cannabis.
All right, Anne Marie.
Cape Cod Dispensary.
Jean.
Bourne Cannabis.
All right, and mine is Cape Cod Dispensaries. Okay. So, congratulations on that
Well-
part. I mean,
Don't we have to put in a motion?
put in the motion, yeah.
Yep.
It should be a vote. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
no,
be
I
just.
know. We're going, I know that, but I'm just saying, yeah, okay? So we know we have it, so why don't does somebody have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay?
Make a motion that we enter into a host community agreement negotiations with Bourne Cannabis for a social equity license.
Second.
Okay. All right, motion by MJ, a second by Jean. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Jean,
Yes.
Anne Marie,
No.
MJ,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Melissa, no. 3.
2-2.
2-2, yeah.
3-2-0.
3-2-0, right, no abstentions.
Motion to adjourn.
No, we can't adjourn. We have to do the narrative.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
I really do recommend that you discuss the reasons and at least have a draft narrative prepared before you leave today.
Okay.
If you want to hold off on voting that, but I do suggest you start discussing your narrative.
Okay.
I can,
All right, so we'll start with Jean. Let Jean begin.
the stronger points of Bourne Cannabis for me was based on the diversion prevention metric, the energy and environmental metric,
Okay.
and the local involvement, as well as labor and employment metrics, the opportunities for employees going above and beyond with the energy, involvement with the local business community, and diversion. That was a very thorough business plan and good
Okay.
points. Strong.
Which one is that?
For your candidate.
We're doing the narrative for
For
the,
the, why you picked your candidate, yeah.
Okay, okay.
MJ, you want to go?
I don't know if you put this in, Gene, but the energy and environmental metric was very strong for me for them.
Yes.
The whole, how they do their product, how the product is done, how they're going to do it, I thought that was very strong.
Yes, right down to recycling, the worm cast casings and everything. That's really fantastic because that's a lot of waste.
Okay. Peter?
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
yeah, that pretty much, I voted no, so.
I know I voted no as well, so. Okay. So now we have to go down to our next candidate and say why we didn't choose them, correct?
Yes.
Well, I did choose them, so.
That's okay. So
So
the
go ahead,
no's.
Jean.
Yeah, I think that was Cape Cod Dispensary, weaker on the diversion prevention, relied heavily on some of the CCC regulations. And I think that was same with the local involvement and the labor and employment. It was not very different, I thought, than the first presentation. You know, there weren't remarkable differences to me for diverse hiring. And then should we go through each?
Yeah.
So, Medicine Man, my scores are all really close. I mean, the consumer education metric was a little weaker for them. I thought their diversion and location and local involvement metrics were a little bit higher for me. Timelines of those were close. I thought Bourne Cannabis had a little bit of an edge with the timeline for opening. And I think the Canna Retail, it was simply the location with them, the energy and environmental metric was not as well thought out or presented, and that was where it was weakest. The local involvement and the labor and employment metric for
Yeah.
Canna Retail was a
Yeah.
little weaker, so.
Yeah. Those were
Are we
my,
talking about Canal Retail or is that what you're talking about?
I'm sorry, I
No,
kind
she
of
did
went.
all
Well,
hers at
medicine
once. She
man,
went
she
down
did
all
all.
of them.
I
She
did all of
all
them.
4 at once.
Okay.
Sorry.
she
was
did
mumbling.
Medicine Man
All
first.
right, so where are we now? We're at, I mean, we voted for the Cape Cod Dispensary, so
Right.
we don't really need a reason why we didn't choose them here. Okay, so our next one is in the list of, if we went by
Well,
how
she
they
did
were.
Medicine Man too.
I did
You
everything.
did Medicine Man, all
Yeah.
right, so that's
Yeah.
good. And then Canal, so then it would be Canal Retail. I mean, a lot of mine, I would say, is just a lot of it is that there was no location. I know we could hypothetically choose a location, but I struggled with that. His was the hardest one for me to score. And
It was.
yeah.
It was,
and,
but
and I didn't give full points even for the energy things. So some of them, I mean, not everything had nobody had all of everything I wanted,
Right.
just to say.
Right.
So if they didn't have all of it, I might have put in my comments, gave basic stuff, but wasn't totally there, right? So
yeah,
think-
experience wasn't
yeah,
there,
or-
um,
minor things,
right.
really.
And
Or it was
Yeah. The
CCC
business plan,
guidelines,
yeah.
but it may not have offered anything extra.
Right.
Right.
So I might
Right.
have said that. All right, so Canal Retail, a lot of it we can all agree was because there was no store.
Yeah.
I did feel that the presentation too was just a little weaker than the rest. It was a lot, like, there was some really brief details on some of it. Some things were like one sentence that I couldn't really, it was hard for me to get a vision when there was very little detail in it. So I think that might have been a little bit of it. It was just lacked some of the, I think my words might have been, I could probably,
So if we're talking about canal retail,
Yeah.
the other thing, along with the location, because there was no defined location, it was hard to evaluate it, but also that affects the timeline.
yes.
That's what I brought up, yeah.
Without a location, it's speculative timeline, so.
Correct.
There's a few
Your
things.
points off there.
I did my best to score him higher, and if I went back, I probably would have given him some extra scores now that I look
Yeah,
at
no,
how
I
some
think
of you all
right.
thought.
Yeah.
You know, hearing the reasoning behind some of your scoring helped me actually to say, well, maybe I would have given him half a point or a point better for that. You know, I could have hypothetically said there was a store, right? You know, I didn't really consider that because I'm a sort of logic person. You know, there is no store. That's the fact. So that's
No
where I was
store, right,
thinking,
which I think played a part in
Yeah.
in the points later, like for, the location measures, or.
For a
or
lot
even
of it was
having-
hard, yeah.
Yeah, even with the business plan and incorporating it into the business plan, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had scored, if we had to give, you know, most of the candidates, if I had done it like I did last time, everybody would have had a 98 or better or something like I did. I mean, because if it was there, they got it.
Yeah.
This time I didn't do
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
so
Well, that was the whole idea
Yeah.
of adopting this particular rubric,
to be more
right?
thoughtful, right?
The equity piece of it.
Right.
If in the language it said, the applicant's security plan clearly demonstrates that it meets professional standards, was prepared by a qualified professional, and has been reviewed by the local police, like, that part, you know, but, I mean,
Yeah,
the
that's-
applicant's security plan, it clear, like, how can you not give the points if they clearly demonstrate
right,
it?
no,
And
and
all they
that's
had
what's
to do was
hard.
demonstrate it.
Well,
Like the
right.
other right?
I had a hard time taking points away this time, put it that way. Yeah. But I did it just to make it based on, you know, all of the.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you tried
so
to
is
be
that,
objective.
do you think that's satisfactory, Marlene, or do you think we need more?
Need a tight,
It's up to the board.
I mean, I know we went through, so we gave the reasoning, we already know why we choose.
Can
the
we
first
review
one.
the narrative before, or
Yeah.
you'll have to review the narrative, right?
Yeah, I can write this up and provide a draft. I will say, you have not spoken much about the reasons why that you are not entering into negotiation with Cape Cod Dispensary or with Medicine Man.
Okay.
So, I can't give an answer because I
I
chose
can't, yeah.
Cape Cod Dispensary.
I'm
So
not a
my
no.
colleagues are gonna have to figure
not a
that
no.
out. Tell
Okay.
us why that is.
Medicine
Why
Man?
Peter's scores were.
Cape Cod Dispensary.
well, we need for both.
Right.
Medicine Man, I think the consumer education metric for me was lower. Timeline and the labor.
Timeline was, yeah, I agree on the
Timeline
timeline
is
was
here.
weak.
Yeah,
They've relied
On
on.
Medicine Man, they said
yeah.
6 to 9 months.
well, I put down, 6 months.
I
yeah,
think
for
they
that
relied
building.
heavily on a lot of
I
the
had 3 to
CCC
6.
guidelines in his presentation. That's important to say in the Medicine Man. I felt that by reading that. It was a lot.
what?
It was like verbatim CCC guidelines in his application.
It was.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Cut and pasted
the
some of
labor
it,
and
right?
employment metric.
Which is
Um,
fine, I guess, but I just, I did notice it.
And for me, again, Cape Cod Dispensary, it was mainly the diversion, prevention, energy and environmental, consumer education. Some of these things just seem to be just not speaking enough towards the SEP.
On Medicine Man, I gave them fewer points on labor and employment metric.
Yes.
There was
I think I
some
did the same.
training explained, but there was not much in terms of employment benefits or, and the other lost points on the timeline and a little bit on the compliance.
All right, and do you guys want to offer more on
I could talk about.
Cape Cod dispensaries? Once we're done with Medicine Man, we really need to, explain why. I'd like more on that.
They lost points for me on on the management team because now the social equity applicant would participate in management.
Mhm.
Was not evident in the application or the presentation. The primary presenter was the attorney and not the management team. The last points on energy and environmental. They lost points for me on the location because I do think that that's a difficult location. It does have its benefits. The other location in Buzzards Bay too, it has its pluses and minuses, and it kind of doesn't come out as an easily accessible location to me. And also on the compliance metric, they didn't really address the compliance metric in their application as a separate topic. It was mostly under security, so I would probably have a point for that.
All right, anybody else? Peter? You had quite a significant spread, so maybe you
Yeah,
could
I'll talk about it.
talk about that.
The applicant, local, let me phrase this right. The hiring, local involvement metric, the applicant has demonstrated a plan to positively impact the local community and be a good business neighbor. The applicant has a plan consistent with applicable laws and regs to make good faith effort to hire municipal residents for employment, etc. My reasoning was the hiring plan is vague with aspirational goals. The plan to positively impact the community does not appear to be tailored to the Bourne community.
Yeah, my notes were, good staffing plan to provide job training and career counseling, but no developed plans for employee benefits beyond wages. And the location, again, I gave it a little less because it was using access through the residential neighborhood.
MJ,
Well, you don't hit-
any more?
No, that's it.
And
I didn't have that much difference between my scores, so I took off minor points for things. But yeah, I think that's my Cape Cod dispensary thing.
Medicine Man, you think that's satisfactory? We gave them enough now?
Yep.
Okay,
I can draft something up for your next meeting.
great. Thank you.
All right.
Well,
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
I know.
Aye.
Signify
Oh, no,
by
we have to
aye. Oh,
roll
yeah, we
call.
gotta do roll call, that's right, roll call, we are on screen. MJ,
Yes.
Jean,
yes.
Anne Marie,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Melissa, yes, 5-0-0, we're adjourned.